But first, the UOG Professional Masters of Business Administration cohort. There are 9 of them in total. They are undertaking a class as part of their capstone. Now remember, this is the class that basically combines all of the different skills that they've honed over the past year. Finance, management, marketing, critical thinking, problem solving, organizational structure, everything like that. And a Project Hover is a proof of concept project that will demonstrate the capability of using drone technology to bring much needed medical supplies to our friends over in Pohnpei. I have right now Hazel Estrelado, who is one of the soon to be newly minted master's students. Hazel and I have worked together before, so I know she's really, really excited to tell me about this. And then our friend Charlie Hermosa, who is the professor for the capstone project. Guys, this is amazing.
Yeah. It is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it is. It is pretty exciting, you know. As far as everyone in our cohort, this is the first time we've done something like this, to take something this big off island and really show people how it works.
So. And this is a practical application of how, because everybody says like, okay, drones, we can get like really, really cool shots, or you can get like selfies that have never before been possible and everything. But now you're actually using this almost as a form of like humanitarian service, would you say? Or how are you framing this?
So, you know, in our class, we have to figure out a problem that we want to tackle using everything we've learned, right? And in this project, we've identified that in this region, there's a need to deliver supplies, medical or whatever it may be, to outer islands that don't have access to it regularly. You know, sometimes they have to wait a week or so before these medical supplies come in. And they have to wait for a boat to fill up and take it over there. And, you know, in working with our professor, Charlie, we wanted to try out drones and see how that can fit into the picture, because we know like it's supposed to be able to do this, but we haven't tested it for something this far.
Exactly. And you know, like any MBA student knows that, you know, if you're worth your weight in gold, you know that you pick the right tool to solve the right problem. And I would say you've got the very best person teaching you right now, because Charlie, I mean, I know you've worn many hats over the years. You know, you're a lifelong U.S. Marine. You've served on the Rotary Club here. Community service is part of what you do. I would say your unofficial title, though, is drone dude.
Right.
And you're very familiar, and probably the island expert when it comes to this technology.
And I do have to say that I left it up to the class to choose which direction we were going to go with the project, because it wasn't necessarily going to be drones, but a little bit of a little push, a little nudge on seeing if the drone technology could be something that we could look at, I think sort of made sense. But I think you pretty much talked about the fact that this is the culminating point where they're going to put all the classes and everything they've learned into one business model, because this is actually going to be a proof of concept. So if they were to start a business, could this be a viable option? So you have data collection, you have budgets, you're putting pretty much everything together to make sure that you can stand up the company and make sense as far as doing a business model. So a humanitarian aspect, I said, you know, I think the way we're situated right now, I think it made sense for us to do something practical and meaningful. And I think that that's what the students kind of undertook this. And the more closer we're getting, I think they're kind of sort of feeling the dynamics of what this really represents.
And it's also interesting because we've had, you know, like with our friends in the Air Force, you know, Operation Christmas Drop is, you know, they deliver medical supplies, much needed, you know, materials to all of our friends, again, our brothers and sisters in the outer islands. This is a equally effective project at the micro scale. So you can actually like take this and say like from a base, you know, part in Pohnpei and everything like that, send it out to, you know, some other place and really get like, I'm preaching to the choir here, Charlie, but, you know, be very, very precise in how you deliver these. So what types of like medical supplies are you looking to bring out?
So I'll let the project manager talk through it.
Yeah. Madam Project Manager, if you would.
So for our class, for the purpose of this project, we decided to design something simple, something basic, since we are not doctors, we cannot deliver prescription medicine. But what we did was we designed a little healthcare kit with some, you know, Tylenol. We surveyed people, and tooth pain is something they deal with a lot. So that's something they have to wait for to go to the dentist and stuff. So we did include something like that in our kit to help relieve pain.
So like a whole case of Anbesol or something like that?
And just basic first aid things, thermometer, a pulse oximeter, things that they wouldn't have on the regular that they maybe, you know, need in their day-to-day things.
Okay, now I gotta ask, right? When I was going through my MBA program many moons ago, because I'm old as dirt at this point, right? We were actually taught and instructed that you take the pessimist view, right? The glass is half empty and you think how can this go wrong, and then you develop your solution about that. Is that the way, Charlie, that you're instructing your students, or and what are some of the problems, Hazel, that you've seen bubbling up, and then how do you address those?
Oh my gosh, so many. So in our class,
But that's a good thing, because you're leaving no stone unturned.
Risk assessment. I mean,
Yes.
that's the thing that we've been working on a lot.
and it's a lot of it's pretty intense in the class, I feel, and so do my classmates feel too. It's like, here's our plan, and then Charlie's like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And we're like, okay,
But every day,
we gotta think.
real life stuff, right? Even I'm sure you go through like, what happens if the lights go out? What happens if the camera doesn't work? I mean, but you have to think really fast.
Yeah.
So one of the focus that we're trying to do is sometimes when you have to be able to be flexible and nimble in everyday business environment. So, but be able to think ahead as far as what the different options. So we have a plan A, plan B, and I try to keep my distance from the project managers, because even though I may know some of the answers, they need to be the ones that are going to have to figure this out.
Well, there's the next interesting question. How do you assess, these hopefully unique ideas that they're coming up with and everything like that, and how do you kind of like, give them guidance when appropriate?
So when they created the business plan and they did the mission planning, that's one of the things that we're going to base off. The mission that you wrote, does it correlate to the mission that we actually accomplished? So the task is to accomplish the mission, but in between, did we take into account the budget? Did we use the right amount of funding? Did we take into account the data? Did we have the right medicine that we wanted to deliver? Because part of the task, the class was divided into separate teams: marketing, development, operations, budget and finance, and so forth. So did everybody kind of hone in and get it right into a certain perspective as far as the overall concept? Because once we come back from Pohnpei, we'll really dive deep. We'll do a after action report, and that's really where the fun really starts.
There you go, because I was going to say, the biggest room in the world is room for improvement, and of course you want to self-assess and everything, but you hit on it too, Charlie. This is Hazel. This is not just theoretical projects and everything like that. You guys are actually physically going out there, and you're really going to launch this drone and really see it in action. So, how are you looking forward to seeing your strategy, be put into, as a actual action item?
It's exciting. Like I said, it's the first time we've done something like this.
You also get a trip to Pohnpei, which isn't
yes,
bad.
We're excited to see the place, but I think we're all a little nervous, but we're just going to get out there and do it.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the metrics that you're holding yourself accountable to?
We, of course, want to make sure that this is something that the people of Pohnpei are excited about as well. We're having an event and hoping people come out to see this. So we've invited, our dignitaries and the general public. And we want the media out there to come as well. And then we, of course, want to test. We're really hoping that the drones are going to make it. There's weather problems that might arise. And
oh gosh, I'm crossing my fingers for you guys.
We're on weather watch every day, but of course, as far as metrics, we just want to see the flight be successful. And then when we get back, we do have meetings with our focus groups to see how we can improve and if there's any other feedback.
I gotta say too, I'm loving the fact that you are actually trying to drive down any possible ambiguity and just saying, like, if something weird comes up, like if a bird should hit the drone, and pray that it doesn't. And there's some wonderful, beautiful video of some test runs, I'm assuming, Charlie. So tell us what this could possibly be. This
is the actual drone that we'll be taking down to Pohnpei. It's called the VTOL, so vertical takeoff. So it vertically takes off and then turns into a fixed wing.
This is almost like the Harrier jump jet from way back.
Correct.
So former Marine, right?
Yeah. In essence, that's sort of the operation that it does. It can fly for 3.5 hours. So we're going to utilize this one to be able to sustain the island-to-island delivery. So we're super excited. I think this is the first time that it's actually going to be showcased outside of the training that we've been doing, or because the Bella Wing, it will have a component of operational folks that are going to come down with the cohort to make sure the operation goes right and accordingly. So
so they are going to be under very well trained,
correct.
well supervised.
Correct. And just to kind of add, so they have their own matrix, but I have my own matrix from a professor standpoint, because I'm going to measure everything that we said we were going to do. From hitting the mark on the production during that day, did we have the right supplies, just to make sure from an operational standpoint and from a business perspective, did they get it right? So
Hazel, are you guys inviting anybody from UOG's physics department and everything? Because just looking at a drone and seeing you're dropping something like that, wind shear, weight, momentum and everything like that.
No, we didn't
Maybe next
contact the
time, yeah.
physics. You know, we don't have a budget to bring the physics team.
Well, that's
on
that's
with
part
us.
of it, you know, the
Yeah.
physics. And
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and a lot of things that they've been asking a lot of the questions. So operationally, I wanted to make sure that they were asking the questions and we were going to provide the answers. Obviously, we're going to make sure that it's all safe, and that's number one. Safety is our number one priority. But execution of the mission and the task that they've put together is also part of the agreement.
Okay, so here's this wonderful flyer. Now, Charlie, I got to tell you, I'm all in with this. I'm super, super excited because, again, when I was going through my MBA like 25 years ago, right, it was all theory. We took a use case that already happened and we're asked to, you know, come up with a strategy, come up with a different result. You guys are actually breaking new ground and coming up with, you know, something that's never been done before. So I'm totally in. Are we able to follow your progress and that of your students?
Absolutely.
Yeah, how can we do so? Is there like a social media channel that you guys have set up where we can follow?
Yes, I think part of the project is we're going to create a Facebook page, and I think that's the best way to follow us, because you could potentially watch us live on the demonstration.
Yeah. So we will be doing a live broadcast of the actual drone flight when we get there.
Very
so
nice.
we'll send that over to you so you can tune in.
And I apologize for how fanboying I'm going to be. Like when you guys, I'll be like a woohoo. I'll be the guy who's like blowing up your comments.
Yes, you can also check out the UOG website, because they will be featuring us on student stories as well.
Excellent.
They'll be following the project, and we will have a capstone presentation at the end of the term to present it to the public.
Okay, so Hazel, best of luck to you. And Charlie, fantastic program that you're running right there. And this is just the first of many, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And best of luck.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, keep us posted. And please keep us posted, because we will be right back with more Hotspot right after this.